Update. Am I the a-hole for backing out of making my sister-in-law's wedding dress? Original post. I, 24, female, am a seamstress/dress designer who works for private clients on commission. 2 years ago, my sister got married, and as my gift to her, I designed and made her wedding dress free of charge, and all her bridesmaid dresses at cost of raw materials. My brother's then girlfriend, now fiancé, was part of the wedding party and knew I was doing this. Before I even started designing, she asked me if for her and my brother's wedding would I make her dress? I casually agreed. When actually making the gowns, my sister and her other 5 bridesmaids were so nice and pleasant to work with, but my brother's girlfriend was a nightmare. She kept asking me to make changes after we finalized the designs, and I had already started making the dresses. She would cancel and just not show up to fittings. She complained constantly of how it looked tacky and unprofessional. And she even ripped the fabric on purpose when I told her I could not make any more changes. And I had to go on a wild goose chase to get more of the same fabric in the right color. The place I bought it from no longer carried it. My brother proposed 2 weeks ago, and the first thing my new sister-in-law did was come over to me and ask when we could meet to start designing. Now at this point in my career, I have dealt with my fair share of bridezillas and control freaks, and I know how to handle them. So I let her know at times she could come to my studio for a consultation. Last week was her appointment, and she came in all excited. But when I brought out my pricings and options for her, she got really mad, saying it wasn't fair to expect her to pay when we were a family, and I had given other family theirs for free. I told her nicely that I charge for my work, as would any other vendor she got for a wedding, and that we can look at the most affordable package I have if she was concerned about cost. At this, she totally lost it, screaming at me that I'm a worthless witch, whose work isn't even good enough for her, and that she was doing me a favor by letting me have this opportunity. I tried to calm her down so we could talk, but she just got worse, knocking over one of my display cases and shattering glass, beads, and expensive jewelry all over the floor. At that point, I was done and yelled at her to get out of my studio before I called the cops. Later that day, my brother called me and yelled at me for being so disgusting and unwelcoming to his fiancée. I explained to him that I am more than happy to make her gown and her bridesmaids' gowns at a fair price, but he got even more upset and said that I had done our sister for free, so I should do this one for free too. Now my parents and brother are mad at me, threatening to leave me out of the wedding if I don't make her a free dress. But I still think I should be paid for my work. Am I the a-hole? Now for the top comments before reading the update. I don't disagree with you, and she is reprehensible. And you're entitled to be paid for your work, and she should pay for the damage that she caused. And I understand you not wanting to lift a finger for now. But I am curious as to why you made a dress as a gift for your sister, but would it do the same for your future sister-in-law? Essentially a gift for your brother. Is it just because she's a nightmare to work with? Don't get me wrong, that's reason enough. I'm just wondering because it seems like it would have avoided a lot of family drama. Not the a-hole. I'm extremely close with my sister. We are twins, and when I was starting out with my studio, she helped me out so much. I love her and wanted to give her a specialized one-of-a-kind gift. And since dressmaking is what I'm good at, that is what I decided to give her. I didn't want to do my sister-in-law's for free because it is a very expensive gift. From materials to labor, it costs a lot. I do not feel like we are close enough for me to do this for her. It is thousands of dollars in materials and potentially hundreds of hours of construction. Not to mention the time that could have been used on other potential commissions, my workers' wages, and her potential to be a bridezilla and make my work life miserable. Not the a-hole. Print out a receipt for damages and give it to your brother and family. Then include the prices for your skills and material. Then send another bill asking for a deposit that will cover future damage/BS. Ask who is willing to pay for all that, because no way in hell should it be you. If you know any other seamstress/designers, pass the word so they know what they are getting into if they agree to work with her. Future sister-in-law should learn a very expensive lesson. But I'm an a-hole like that. I'm thankfully at this stage of life where I don't care about being nice or keeping the peace. If she refuses to pay damages, take it to small claims court. Yeah, get her served at the wedding. It'll be your gift to them. This is the ultimate petty revenge and I love it. Have the process server wait until the objection part of the vows. Object, then saunter down the aisle to serve her. I'm sure someone at the wedding can send OP a picture of sister-in-law's face when that happens. Now for the update. First of all, thank you for all your comments, positive and negative. They really helped me see what I did wrong, how I could have handled it better, and what I should do going forward. So as many of you suggested, I sat down with my parents and brother and told them the story from my perspective. From how sister-in-law behaved 2 years ago, through what happened at my studio last week with the CCTV footage as proof. They were shocked because, as many of you suggested, sister-in-law had been spinning lies to cover up her faults and had been completely fooling them. Right away, my parents apologized for how they treated me, and my brother became very quiet. I told him that I would not be making her a dress anymore, regardless of if she would be willing to pay. But if he wanted, I could make him a suit for the wedding, on my own time since my studio specializes in women's wear. My brother thanked me and left. The next day, I got a call from sister-in-law. She was furious. She wanted to know what sort of manipulation and lies I told my brother to make him put the wedding on hold. Apparently, after our meeting, he went home and told her that he was very disappointed and heard she would treat me this way, and he needed time to think about whether this step was the right one, so he put the wedding on hold. Sister-in-law was so mad she came to my apartment and banged on my door for a good half hour, but I refused to open the door for her. She was screaming so loudly one of my neighbors ended up calling the cops for a noise disturbance, and she was escorted to the police station. I don't know what happened to her after that. Yesterday, my brother came over to my apartment and we had a long talk. It turns out some of you were right, and he did feel left out and hurt by my actions. Since my sister is my twin, he has always felt like we both care a lot less about him than each other. We ended up calling my sister on the phone. She lives in a different country now, and all three of us had a long, tearful talk. I made sure my brother knows that I love him immensely, and nothing could ever change that. We hugged it out, and now I believe our relationship is the strongest it's ever been. And I promised on paper that I will make his suit for his wedding, free of charge. After I promised, he told us that he no longer wants to marry sister-in-law, and that he has already started looking for a new apartment. He said a decision was not easy, but ultimately he wants to marry someone who can feel at home in the family, not someone who makes his family uncomfortable. So when he does find the right one, I will be making him and not her the wedding attire. Thank you all for your help and advice. I will not post any other updates because I believe this matter will be over now. I have made custom wedding gowns. People always think they're going to get a one-of-a-kind, over-the-top dress, but for just a few $100. Even after they see how much the fabric and the lace cost, they think you should do the work for free. I think OP is a saint for doing not just a wedding gown, but an entire entourage of bridesmaids as well. A relative made me a dress as a gift. Just the cost of the fabric and the lace ended up being around $400, 20 years ago. That's before all the crazy amount of hours of work and fittings time. A full dress for a major event is easily in the thousands of dollars. I think people underestimate how expensive it is to get good quality white fabric. The reason why the little black dress is a classic is partly because even cheap fabric looks pretty good in black. The fact that light doesn't reflect off it makes it look heavier/smoother than it really is. White shows up all the texture of the fabric, so you can really tell the quality, or lack thereof. More proof, I think, that some people think that a person's value is the same as their fee for the service being provided. Luckily, the brothers saw the issues before the wedding and everything was done. Selfish, disrespectful people like sister-in-law always show their true colors eventually. When she decided to get married into a loving, functional family, it really was just a matter of time until she butt heads with someone and showed her fiancé who she really is. Unfortunately for OP, sister-in-law chose her. Good for the brother for choosing a wonderful family over a rotten fiancé. Last story. Update. Am I the a-hole for not attending my best friend's wedding? Original post. I, 28 female, am entangled in a wedding drama of epic proportions. My recently engaged best friend, 29 female, asked me to be her maid of honor, and words can't even describe how happy I was. We've been inseparable since kindergarten, and I was ready to make her big day unforgettable. I spent nearly $700 on our bachelorette party, buying cute outfits for everyone and renting a party bus with all-you-can-drink drinks. The other girls pitched in, but I'm the most financially stable, so the majority fell on me. I helped plan the wedding of her dreams, right down to contacting the vendors and setting dates when she was too busy. I made a save-the-date and invitation cards. What I'm trying to say is that I did a lot for her. And then 2 weeks before the wedding, my best friend asked me to step down and said that her future sister-in-law would be taking the role of maid of honor. I was angry, and we got into a huge argument over this, where I admittedly said things I wasn't proud of. Since then, I've received texts from our friends, best friend's family, the groom's family, and even sister-in-law, telling me that I'm a drama queen who needs to get over herself, and that it isn't about me. This has really gotten to me and I need to know, was I in the wrong? Now for the top comments before reading the updates. Not the a-hole. She changed her mind about you being her maid of honor after you've done so much for her and spent so much money, so you get to change your mind about attending the wedding. Simple as that. Info. Did she give you a reason for why she asked you to step down? Sister-in-law is an introvert and might never get to be a maid of honor, while I have a large friend group and might be a maid of honor at one of their weddings. I'm fairly introverted, but that's such a weird reason. Is she close to her future sister-in-law? I feel like that justification is a bit of a cop-out. By the way, you are not the a-hole. Stick with it. That's no way to treat a friend who has spent money for your wedding that you've basically known your entire life. She isn't particularly close to sister-in-law, and even would complain about her at times. Sister-in-law is the youngest member of the nearby extended family. She's 18. I don't know if that changes things, but my friend felt like sister-in-law was cuddled. Info: did you ask anyone to financially compensate you after you were asked to step down? This feels like a gross bait and switch. Not the a-hole, this is some BS. I tried asking for some of the money back, but she called me money hungry and said I never told her it was conditional. Well, apparently it was conditional, since you were asked to step down. Have you talked to sister-in-law? Once or twice before this went down. She has been texting and calling me to tell me what a self-centered jerk I am, but I haven't replied. The financial burden is a major part of accepting the role. I'm so sorry this BS is happening. Never mind not attending. I'd probably walk away entirely from this relationship. I wouldn't burn bridges if I can help it, in case there's some behind-the-scenes manipulation/abuse happening. Below contact for sure. This is cruel and selfish of them. Not the a-hole. I didn't consider behind-the-scenes abuse. From what I've seen of the fiancé, he's very kind and sweet and treats her right. But I don't know much about the family. I want to talk to my friend once emotions settle a bit. Thank you for your advice and judgment. Now for the updates. Mini update. A small update and to answer some questions. I asked for $200 of the money back because the $500 was repayment from when she paid my rent in college for a month. I hadn't paid her back sooner because she requested I use it for a bachelorette. She's been dating her fiancé for 8 years, and we're waiting to be more financially stable before getting married. So, I called her this morning and asked to talk. She agreed, and we set up a meeting on Thursday at a local coffee shop. I'm a bit concerned because she sounded really shy and nervous on the phone. Hopefully that goes well, and I can do an official update with happy news. Thank you so much for your advice and comments. Now for the full update. Hi everyone. This is an update to my previous post, which you can find on my profile. First, I just want to thank everyone again for how kind and supportive you have all been, but also how honest. I took everything to heart, and everyone's advice was great. Now on to the update. I met my friend at around 9 a.m. yesterday at a local coffee shop. She looked really bad. Her hair was super greasy and unkempt. She had really bad eye bags, and she seemed totally exhausted. When I asked her what was wrong, she just apologized. I kept prodding, and it turns out that her in-laws are real pieces of work. Apparently, they've been harassing her for nearly 3 years about having sister-in-law as the maid of honor at the wedding. And when my friend chose me, they went ballistic. My friend said she thought she'd be able to handle it until the wedding day, but then mother-in-law threatened to ruin her wedding unless sister-in-law was the maid of honor. My friend panicked, and that's when she told me I would no longer be maid of honor. She apologized for the money-hungry comment and said that she was just in such an awful place mentally that hearing me mention the money made her really upset. The reason all our friends were attacking me is because they knew about the mother-in-law situation, as my friend never mentioned it to me. Because she didn't want me to step down because of mother-in-law, and they thought I also knew the whole story. And as for the fiancé, he was completely in the dark. He doesn't have a good relationship with his mother already, and my friend didn't want to be what destroyed that relationship. When my friend told me all this, I felt awful. I didn't know she was enduring 3 years of harassment because of me. I immediately apologized, and she apologized, and we both cried a lot. When the tears stopped, she pulled out an envelope with $200 and gave it to me. I originally refused, but she insisted, so I took it. I encouraged her to tell her fiancé, because keeping this from him wasn't helping anyone. And if he decided to cut off mother-in-law, then that was his decision, not hers. After talking a lot more about future boundaries, our friendship and the wedding, I decided I would go to the wedding and we'd still be friends. I know my friend didn't handle this in the best way, but I've known her for over 2 decades, and she's practically my platonic soulmate. That's not something you should throw away because of this. Originally, that was how my updates ended, but as I was about to write this, I received a text from my friend saying that fiancé disinvited his mom, and practically half the family including sister-in-law, because of their treatment of my friend and me. She asked if I would be willing to be the maid of honor again, and I said yes. I just want to give a final thank you to Reddit for helping me through this, and I hope all of you have a nice night. Wow, what an emotional roller coaster! It's amazing to see how your friendship has stood the test of time and endured through this difficult situation. It takes a lot of strength to forgive and move forward, and I truly admire that. Wishing you all the best for the wedding, and kudos to the fiancé for taking a stand against the toxic behavior. Reddit really came through with some solid advice, as always. Stay strong. Have things been clarified with the other friends, and did they apologize to OP? All of this, it is nice that the bride apologized, but it is also on her to clear the air with the other friends and help make amends between them and OP. I can sympathize with the stress bride was under, but it does not negate the hurt done to OP by their other friends because of her actions. I genuinely cannot fathom planning a wedding with someone who either couldn't or wouldn't openly communicate about stuff like this. Right? If a boyfriend's family did half this crap to me, I'd run and tell him first. And he'd better do something, otherwise I'm gone. Not an ultimatum, but I'm at a point in my life where I'm not going to beg or train a partner to treat me with respect.